For the last couple of hours, I've been reading through the Epstein documents that were released today. And, this moment was supposed to be a huge moment, a glorious moment for everyone. This moment was supposed to be a major win for people like me, who have been working overtime for years to wake people up to a lot of the crazy stuff that's going on in this world. This moment was supposed to be a huge win for people like me, for people like you. If you're watching this video, then chances are this was supposed to be a huge win for you as well. Chances are you've had the conversation with friends, co-workers, and associates. Chances are you yourself have woken someone up out there that had no idea that all of these crazy things were going on behind the scenes in our world. But instead of this being a huge moment, a huge win, instead of having this glorious moment to say, look, everyone, look, this is what we've been talking about for years. Instead of getting that, what we got is the only way I could describe it, the only way I could describe this feeling right now is it feels like we all got slapped in the face. It feels like we all got bitch smacked, pimp smacked in the face today. That's how I feel. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but that's how I feel. And I'm kind of infuriated, but I don't want to come across as too angry in my video. But I've skimmed through basically everything that was released today. I've read a lot of it in its entirety. And I kid you not, this is the icing on top. This is what makes things so much worse. The information that was released today, it's all old information. The information that was released today, it's all stuff that I was reading like 10 years ago. Don't quote me on this one because, like I said, it's been a long time. But if my memory serves me correctly, all of the information that I've read so far in these documents, it's information that I was reading back in like 2015, 2016-ish. Before I was even as deeply invested in all of this stuff. I was reading this information like 10 years ago. But here's what makes things so much worse. The information that was released today is more redacted than the information that was released 10 years ago. There's more redactions in the files and documents that were released today than when they were originally released like a decade ago. I kid you not. They pretended as if we're getting more transparency. They come out with all of this old information. I guess they thought people were stupid and hadn't read this stuff already. And now this recycled information is even more redacted, even less transparent than it was 10 years ago when it was released. So yeah, I feel like I got slapped in the face. And I'm someone who knew this was coming. There was never a doubt in my mind. I was never blindly under the impression that they were just going to really release all this stuff. And I've put out the warnings out there for my subscribers. A lot of people don't want to hear it though. But yeah, folks, you can go read up on this stuff yourself. But if you don't want to, I can save you time and let you know nothing new. There's nothing new in this stuff. So earlier this morning, when they passed out those little fake prop Epstein binders to all of those right-wing influencers, they knew. Those influencers knew the entire time that there was nothing new in those binders. Yet they paraded around in their photos like, oh my God, we got the top secret information, right? Pam Bondi knew when she sat on live television and said, oh my God, the stuff in these files, it makes me sick. It's been sitting on my desk. She knew when she lied on national television that she didn't have anything new for us, yet she pretended like she had new information to give to the world today. And I need people to start looking not just at these politicians, but you need to start looking at these influencers and start holding them accountable. I warned you about these same people just a week or so ago when all of that Ashley St. Clair, Elon Musk baby mama drama was going on. I warned you that a lot of these influencers, they're shills. They do not practice what they preach. They promote like certain lifestyles, like conservative, Christian, traditional lifestyles. They're not about that at all. Okay? They're like chameleons. They change. All right? They change to whatever is popular at the time. And today they were out there parading these binders around as basically pure propaganda. And someone somewhere in the White House in the current administration thought, hey, they're pressing us for the Epstein files. What are we going to do? And they just hired, hey, come on, we're going to take all of your big right-wing influencers and we're going to parade them around with the binder. And hopefully that's enough to appease people for now. It's not enough for me. And it shouldn't be enough for you. In fact, like I was saying earlier in a past video, I'm not a pearl clutcher, but I am disgusted and I'm kind of offended. And I've never said this before because I don't get offended by anything, but I am offended by this. I am offended that we have a bunch of fake, phony grifters smiling while holding fake prop Epstein document binders. It is ridiculous. And the most ridiculous of all might be that guy by the name of DC Drano. And I have nothing against this guy personally, but I've noticed some things today that just really put a bad taste in my mouth. Because today, and I've already had this suspicion, I've already called out a lot of people for this, but today it was made crystal clear that most of these big right-wing influencers are all propagandists that will lie to you for engagement bait. And this is stuff we already knew, but today it seals the deal. Today, even the slowest of the slow, even the dumbest of the dumb, even the dullest tool in the tool shed should be able to see straight through these right-wing influencers today. Because what they pulled today has to be one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in my life. And that is saying a lot because we are just surrounded by ridiculousness these days. We just went 4 years under the most ridiculous administration of all time. And I'm not sure if I saw anything during that was as ridiculous as what I saw today, with people parading around with these fake binders filled with old information that you could find on Google 10 years ago. But I was paying attention because this is all obviously political theater. And now these influencers, they've exposed themselves for what they really are. They're propagandists. And listen, propaganda works in all types of different ways. Sometimes you're going to see propaganda and you're going to agree with it. A lot of the propaganda these people put out, I agree with, right? I'm not against them politically, but I am going to call the nonsense out when I see it. And I saw so much nonsense today, so much so that I will never trust a single person that held up that binder. I will never trust them again. I will never give them a single ounce of my support again. If you held up that binder, I mean, I don't even want to say what I want to say right now. But if you held up that binder, I don't want nothing to do with you. That says a lot about every single person that smiled with that binder, knowing that they were basically tricking the general public into accepting that they weren't going to really get the Epstein files. But I started looking through all of their posts, right? Because when I woke up this morning like clockwork, all of the big X accounts all started dropping their little selfies with their little stupid ass binders, okay? Then I started noticing that some of them were posting the exact same post, word for word. I mean, it was obvious that someone was providing them with the information to put out there, that someone was giving them a pre-approved message to post online. And you see, the problem is a lot of people, they look to these influencers because they think that these influencers are independent journalists with no biases that will tell you the truth. But what has happened is all of these big influencers, they've been bought and paid for. They are the new mainstream media. They are given pre-approved messages, pre-approved propaganda, and they're paid to spread it to their followers. Most of these big influencers that you followed because you thought that they were a more truthful, reliable source for information than CNN, MSNBC, or Fox News, turns out they're just the same. They're all part of the same propaganda machine. They have a different face. They're unrecognizable from the mainstream media. They do things a little different, but at the end of the day, the end game is still the same. And what they're doing is still the same. What they're doing is feeding you a bunch of propaganda and lies. And sometimes they tell you some things that you want to hear because they got to string you along. You know, back when the beer bug and the lockdowns happened, remember that clip that was floating around online of like every single news outlet, every local news outlet in America, they were all basically saying the same exact message, the same exact pre-approved message. And then there's that clip with all of them playing simultaneously. And like people realize we're all being fed the same propaganda.
Publish the same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish fake stories that simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly.
Like literally, the news anchors in Dallas, Texas are saying the exact same thing as the news anchors in, New York City. And they were just all saying the same message. That's the same thing when it comes to these influencers. So we mocked the mainstream media for doing this. So we need to mock these influencers for doing the same thing. Because they're all posting, copying and pasting the same messages, the same pre-approved propaganda messages that they've been given to spread to the public. And DC Drano was called out for this today. And DC Drano tried to deny it. DC Drano tried to claim that no, that people were copying and pasting his post, and that what he had was not a pre-approved message that he was told to post on X. The only problem is, the person that he accuses of stealing his post actually posted the same propaganda copy and paste message, before DC Drano posted it. So DC Drano, after getting exposed for using these copy and pasted pre-approved messages from the government, after getting exposed for spreading that propaganda, he tried to claim that everyone was stealing his post, when in reality, he posted like 14 or 15 minutes after the other person posted. So all of these people who you think have their own minds, that are all just working, and just, being a journalist, an independent journalist, this or that, whatever you think about these people, in reality, they're just the new mainstream media. They're receiving money and checks and donations and what have you from the same places that CNN and MSNBC and Fox News are. These are the new mainstream media propagandists. And today was the best proof that we have of that. If you needed any more proof, today should have sealed the deal for you. I mean, I already knew this. I've been calling this out for a long time. But sometimes it takes big things like what happened today to kind of show people what's really going on out here. And unfortunately, what's really going on out here is all of these big right-wing influencers that everyone seems to have put in so much trust in. The reality is they're all bought and paid for, mostly by the same group of people, which is why they spread the same exact pre-approved messages. They all communicate behind the scenes in their secret little rooms. They're given the information that they spread. Most of them are not knowledgeable at all on the topics they talk about. And if you listen to them at length, you will quickly realize that, okay? So yeah, that's the unfortunate reality that we're dealing with. The people that a lot of you, even watching this video, the people that you trust, that you trusted over the mainstream media because you thought that they were against the mainstream media and they were trying to tell you the truth, no. They were just leading you astray in a different direction. That's what people have to understand. There's the truth, and then of course there's people trying to lead you away from the truth. But there's also people trying to lead you away from the truth in this direction as well. People all think it's either the truth or we're going to try to steer you in this direction. No, there's multiple directions they will steer you in to keep you away from the truth. So a lot of people who may be like on the left, they may identify as Democrats or whatever, they're being led astray from the truth in this direction. But a lot of people on the right, they've put so much trust in these influencers because they can't trust the media, and they're being led astray in a different direction. And it's all just to take you further away from the truth. That's all today was about. They made a complete mockery of the release of these files. And I think that's on purpose as well, to cheapen things, to make things like a joke, to make things less serious. Okay? And all of these influencers, they went right along with it. And they knew exactly what they were doing. And they've gotten called out. And some of them have already folded. And as soon as they folded, what did they do? They all, in unison, have turned to the same tired excuse. An excuse that I don't want to hear anymore. Now they're saying, oh, it's because of a rogue FBI agent. Well, Pam Bondi, yeah, she lied on national television last night, but what she didn't realize was this, and it's the FBI. They're withholding information. No. Your administration is in charge of the FBI now. Okay? So now they're going to give you this weak excuse that there's rogue agents in the FBI. They've gone rogue. They refuse to release this information. That's not true. That's not true. They just want to give you an excuse. They want to ride with this excuse. They're going to use all of the same influencers that they paraded around with this fake binder. They're all going to spread the same fake excuse to you about the FBI doing this and the FBI doing that. No, they just have no intentions of releasing this information. It's clear, cut, and dry, just like that. No need to overcomplicate things with fake stories. And I hope and I pray, and I don't pray as much as I should these days, but I pray that people see through this one. I really do. Because if you can't see through this, then there is no hope. And any and everything we thought would be accomplished during this administration, you could throw it all out the window. If we can't hold people accountable, if we can't see through the obvious BS here. So please try to take off your blinders and see things for what they really are. But while you're here, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.